Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley Estes here at the Mountain View Cottage, and today we are on the next part of my series, Get Your Life Together Bootcamp, which is an encouraging series for moms to help you get more control of your home so that you have more peace and joy with your families inside of your home. So today I want to talk about planning. Planning is one of the things that's probably the most important to the success of my home running well. And I have planned in many different ways over the years. And kind of the conclusion that I've come to is that you just need to be doing some sort of planning, and it has to be consistent, whether you're a paper planner or a digital planner or a combination of both, or more of a list writer that's kind of like your daily plans and goals. It doesn't really matter exactly how you plan or the details of how you're planning. That's not what this episode is about. I'm really just going to talk about what I plan, when I plan, the consistency of my planning schedule, and how that fits into me running my home. So I have been a planner for as long as I can remember. I remember in elementary school, we got those little spiral calendar planners, and I don't know why, but for some reason I loved that. And I really gravitated towards that because to me it felt like it was organizing my life, and I could write things down in it and plan ahead for the future. And I've always been very future oriented, so I have loved planning from a very young age. When I was getting ready to move out of my parents' house for the first time at 18 and go away to college, one of the most important things that I purchased with my own money before leaving for college was a paper planner, and I still remember exactly what it looks like. I used it religiously, and it helped me stay on top of my school and my studies and my personal life. And so I have always been a planner. And some of you may be thinking, well, I've never been a planner. I don't love planning. And so I'm hoping that maybe by sharing some of the reasons why I plan and how it helps me focus my household might encourage you to become some sort of a planner, regardless of what that looks like. So I'll talk to you currently about how I plan and what it looks like. I currently am more of a digital planner, which is kind of surprising even to me because I have been a paper planner all my life, and I love paper planners. I create and sell paper planners on my Etsy shop. I also have digital planners as well. That's how much I love planning. But I have really started to gravitate more towards digital planning in this season of my life with so many different moving parts. Once again, if you're new here, I live in a family household of 9 people that consists of 7 children and 2 adults, me and my husband. The ages of our children range in age from 2 to 16, almost 17, and it's a lot. We do foster care, we homeschool, our kids are all in activities outside of including church and drama and baseball, and because we are a foster family, many of our children have therapies and additional doctor's appointments. We have a child who has pretty specific medical needs and has his entire life. He's now 12, and so there are a lot of things happening from our day to day. So logistically, a digital planner works really well for me and my husband to keep track of things together. We do use Apple Calendar, and we share our calendars with each other. On your Apple Calendar, you can create additional calendars and color code them. So we have an entire list of calendars that we share with each other. One is my husband's work schedule. One is our homeschool schedule. One is doctor's appointments. One is kids' activities. One is meal planning. One is travel. One is church. One is exercise and health for like planning to go to the gym and work out and things like that. One is gardening because I love to garden. So there is a variety of color-coded planners that I have on our shared Apple Calendar that me and my husband have. I have decided and really started to gravitate towards this because it is accessible to me anytime, any place, anywhere, and I can update it in an instant, and my husband knows without me having to tell him, and vice versa. My husband works a very busy job. He is often working different hours outside of his regular schedule. He does lots of different trainings. He's in law enforcement, so his schedule is variable from from day to day. He is currently not even working his regular schedule, and he is in an EMT course. And so his schedule has looked vastly different the last 8 weeks than it usually does. And so this has been the only way that we are able to effectively communicate all the varying schedules in our home for every single individual in our home and not lose each other along the way. And so we have a shared Apple Calendar, and like I said, I've always been a paper planner, but a digital planner that you share with your significant other or your partner or your roommate or whoever it is that's significant in your life and needs to know your schedule, your secretary, whoever it is, has been a game changer. And I've been using a digital planner now successfully for 3 years. And the more that I use it, the more that I gravitate towards it, because it's just simple and easy, and it's like a brain dump for all the things that are happening, and I can just put it on the calendar, and I put everything on the calendar. If I'm taking a meal to a friend, or I want to remember to take a meal or a gift or something to a friend, I will put it on my calendar under personal. If I have to remember to plant garden seeds at a certain date and a certain time for our fall garden, I put that in my calendar, in my brown gardening calendar that's color coordinated. If I need to fertilize my garden at a certain time, I put it in my calendar. If I have household tasks that need to get done, like changing out light bulbs or filters or doing chemicals in our pool, I put them on the calendar, because then I do not forget. I check my calendar every night and every morning, and I just kind of see, okay, these are all the things that are happening. Because it's color coded, it has made my life so much easier, because I know the colors on the calendar, I know what they represent, and I can remember everything. And I can look at it at a glance and just see, oh, okay, these are the colors and the events and the activities of things that are happening this day. Beyond digital planning, I also paper plan. And my paper planning looks like me sitting down once a week. And this is where I'm going to talk about the frequency of planning and how important that is. I have on my digital calendar a weekly planning day, which is every Friday after I finish homeschool for the week. I sit down and I pre-plan the details of our next homeschool week. I do that all digitally as well. And I actually use Google Sheets or Excel to plan our homeschool. This includes the chapters we're reading, the subjects we're doing, the frequency of the subjects, and all of that. And then I also look at my digital planner across the board for my entire family and all the events and things that may be coming up in the next week to 3 months. And I plan out for those events. And I will add things to the calendar if I haven't already added them real time. And that's one of the things that's so great about a digital calendar is, like, if I'm at my kid's orthodontist appointment and we're scheduling for their next 8-week appointment, I just put it in the calendar right away. I don't need a reminder card. I know that it'll be in my calendar. When the next 8 weeks comes, I'll know exactly when it is, and I don't have to go back and try and reference something or remind it. So a lot of my planning can happen real time with my phone in a digital calendar. So, but I do a weekly planning session. So I will digitally plan with Google Sheets my next week for my homeschool. And then I also digitally plan for my business. I use a very similar layout for all of my businesses. This includes reels that I'm posting for all social media. I post reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of the above, all of them, my YouTube schedule, and this allows me to kind of see my upcoming calendar, what I need to be prepared for, what items I might need to purchase or have ready for certain videos that I'm shooting, or reels or TikToks that I'm shooting, what brand deals I'm currently doing, and when the dates are for those to be submitted. I can hyperlink the agreements that I've made with brands so that I can see, oh, okay, like I have to do 4 pictures, 6 stories, and a reel. And this all stays in my Google Sheets for my business. I have one for YouTube, and then I have a separate one for all of my reels that I post across all the different social media channels, including Facebook, so that I know what my calendar looks like. I'm staying on top of my business, and I am being consistent with my business, and I can be ahead of my business. This has been the key to me getting ahead of my business, like filming reels in advance so that I have 6 weeks of content ahead of time. I had a surgery earlier this year, and I knew I was going to be down for a really long time. And I scheduled content for 4 solid months. So I did not have to film anything. I shared the reel content because I speed up my reels in slow motion, in like real time motion on my stories. And probably no one ever knew that I had a surgery because I was really diligent in being consistent in my business and sharing those things that I had pre-filmed, and I just filmed in batches so that I could get ahead of my health. I knew that my health wasn't going to be in a place where I was going to be able to work, and so I didn't have to lose out on income or my business growth. In fact, my business grew exponentially during that time, and it was just so consistent, and I've continued to use this consistency for years now. And then I also paper plan. So I use a paper planner that is a download from my Etsy shop that you can buy and print at home. And I plan the week ahead. And you're like probably wondering, well, Haley, you already digitally planned. Why would you need to write it down? There is something for me about writing something down from my brain onto pen and paper that really helps me organize my thoughts and have a better handle on the week ahead. So I weekly plan with my paper planner, and I can share some clips of what that looks like. And then I also color coordinate it. My highlighters match my Apple Calendar color coordination. So on all of my highlighters, I got this idea from Tony from A Bowl Full of Lemons. I used my labeler to label the caps on all of my highlighters for what each color is for. Meal planning, kids events, business stuff, personal stuff, whatever it is. They're all color coded to match my Apple Calendar. So I write them down on my weekly calendar, and then I highlight them and color code them. And it just helps me get a better layout for my week. And sometimes when I see it written down in a week format versus my Apple Calendar, I can see things differently, and I can patch together and realize, oh, well, because I'm doing this, I could also do this. Like, I know I have to go to this doctor's appointment, and there is a post office that is the only one I can go to for this particular item or return or whatever, right by there. And so then I'll write down in my calendar and then add it to my Apple Calendar, hey, remember to take this return at the same time. And something about writing it down helps me manage things better than if I was just keeping it in my digital planner. So I really still am a paper planner, and I still use my own paper planners that I've created, and I have tons of different formats and layouts that you can use that are on my Etsy shop. This is a shameless plug, I guess, for my Etsy shop, but I do use both. I use a digital planner and a paper planner, and it seems to just work better for me. And that consistency of sitting down every Friday and planning out the week ahead just helps me get on top of life. We welcomed a new foster child into our home like 4 months ago now. And the transition for a new foster child to come into your home comes with tons of appointments, tons of assessments and evaluations and court dates. And there's just there's a lot of things that you have to get set up and get moving and in place when you have a new child into your home, regardless of their age. I've done babies and teens, and it's the same across the board. There's just a lot that happens in the very beginning. Some of it is state requirement, and then some of it is age specific. And so during that season, not only was I weekly planning in my paper planner, I was also daily planning in my daily planner. And I kind of shift off from different seasons when I feel like I'm more anxious and more stressed and I need to plan more delicately and more intricately. Then I will sit down every evening with my paper planner and a daily layout, which I can also show you. And I will plan the day ahead because there's just so many moving parts sometimes, because we have 7 children and there's so much happening, including my foster daughter has a job now and is taking special classes and all kinds of things. Like, there were just so many things that were added in, like a compound of things that were added all at once to our calendar, that it was hard for me to feel like I could stay above water with all of it at once. And so daily planning helped me kind of get into that routine and that rhythm of what everything is like now. And I don't need that daily planning component now, but I did for months when she first came, because there was just so much added to our schedule, and it just made it so much easier for me to not forget things and drop the ball on things because I am a very forgetful person. The reason I plan and I have to plan is because I can be such a forgetful person and I have forgotten important things, and it is so devastating to me when I forget because I feel like that person thinks now that I don't care, but I do care. Sometimes it escapes my brain and then I never remember, that I said I would do something or promised I would do something. And so if I don't write that promise down in my calendar somewhere, I will forget because that's just me. I'm human. So planning is a huge part of me organizing my family and our life. I may dive more into planning later, but this is just going to be the general overview of how I plan, what that looks like. And then I also plan in advance. So one of the things that I try to plan for is fun things. So I have my best friend and I both homeschool. We both have lots of kids. And this Friday, we're gonna sit down together. It's the beginning of a new homeschool year, and we are going to plan out our field trips for the rest of the year. So planning can also help you put in place fun things. And so we are going to plan different field trips that coincide with some of the things that we're studying, both together and separately. It makes a positive impact on our calendar, so we have fun things to look forward to because we do these fun Fridays where we get together with each other almost every Friday if we can, and we do something fun. Some of these field trips will be as simple as having a picnic in a park that's free. Others will be more expensive, but this will allow us to plan ahead and have these fun dates on the calendar so that when life happens and all the other things start getting pushed onto the calendar on Fridays, I can remember, nope, I have 6 hours that I'm doing this with our homeschool group for a field trip that day, and I can't plan anything. So when you plan in advance for fun stuff, you continue to have time for the fun stuff instead of all the minutia of life getting in the way. So one of the things I want to remind you is that planning is not just for the day-to-day minutia, but it's also for the really fun things that you want to do. This also includes family trips. We have planned well a year in advance for a huge family trip that we were doing in the winter of this year after the new year, where we are going to go to Disneyland and then visit family all the way in Washington State. And we have been planning for this trip for over a year now because we knew we wanted to do it. We know it's expensive and it's going to take time and planning and forethought. And so I encourage you to sit down with your partner, which is something I do with my husband, and plan the trips and the events that you want to do. My husband and I's, let's see, how old are my twins? They are gonna be 13. So our 14-year anniversary is coming up in just a couple weeks. So we have a fun trip planned for that. And we planned this many months ago so that we knew that would happen. It's also happening at a really good time because we both need a little bit of break from life. He's been in school. I have been, doing homeschooling and foster care stuff that's been a lot recently. And so making sure that you plan in advance for these fun trips will make sure that they happen and give you the opportunity and the time to save and be prepared for them. So planning is a huge part of how I run my household. And I think if you can just start by planning once a week, it will become a habit. And then how you plan and the systems that you use to plan can become uniquely yours, however you decide to plan. You don't have to plan like I do, but if you give yourself that weekly planning date, you will be so surprised how things start to kind of just fall into place, and you realize, oh, like there is a rhyme and a reason to every season, and I can be prepared ahead of time. It's currently September, and I've had most of Christmas done since August and July. So you can just be ahead so that when the holiday season comes, I know that I don't want to be out stressing about expensive presents and all the things, and I can actually just enjoy the holiday season with my kids. And I can put those traditions and things that we want to do on the calendar, like going to light shows and doing hay rides with Coco and things like that at Christmas time. So I hope that this is helpful. I know it's not super detailed, but I hope it's an insight into how I plan and how perhaps you could plan, and some ideas to plan maybe differently or your own way completely as you go through the next couple of months. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I upload new content every Thursday, and I will have some bonus content coming up soon. Thanks so much for being here.